May I remind you that trading is risky and not suitable for everyone. Your past performance, good or bad, is not necessarily indicative of future results. Please stay small, stay humble, focus on the long term, and never risk money you cannot afford to lose. Welcome to QuantBox Daily. Today is Wednesday, January the 11th. We're like almost halfway through January. Can you believe it? Anywho, what is QuantBox Daily? QuantBox Daily is a YouTube channel, YouTube videos that get put out every single day at around this time, where we discuss the foreign exchange market, but we do so using an amazing tool called QuantBox. And QuantBox is your global macroeconomic quant in a box, brought to you by Wayne McDonald. If you don't know who Wayne McDonald is, definitely go and check out Forex.today. He is the GOAT, an absolute G of a trader, and very focused on fundamental analysis and macroeconomic data and macroeconomic trends and all those good things. And he's got quite an education behind him. So he's put this tool together, and this tool provides you with all of the quantitative analytical tools you need to formulate, well, not even formulate because it gives you the bias, provide you with a fundamental bias so that you know what you are fundamentally. You're then able to marry this with technical analysis and then identify opportunities for trades. Sounds great, right? It is cool. What I do is I go through QuantBox in this session, and we then look at charts and we identify opportunities. Very, very cool stuff. You still have to verify things tactically on your own, but I tell you exactly how to do that. There's some cool stuff inside QuantBox. You've got macroeconomic data, you've got COT data, you've got seasonality, you've got news calendar. It's really beautiful. And the best thing about it is it's just $7.90 for a weekly trial. Give it a bash. I never used to be a fundamental trader until I started using QuantBox, and now I will never go back. Now, what we do in this session is we don't go through each of the pairs and look at the biases. What we take a look at is this market heat map. It's a very, very nice little tool because what it tells us which currency pairs are the most bullish and the most bearish for the previous session. Isn't that cool? What we then do is we can then get an idea of risk. Like right now, you can see our indices is currently bullish, which means risk on. So we assume we're going to see dollar weakness and yen weakness. Okay. Then, of course, down here, we can see all of our currency pairs. UK 100 is down. Okay, that's interesting. So it's the only indice that's currently down. You can see everything else is currently up. So what we're going to do is take a look at these pairs. We'll then take a look at the fundamental bias for the pair. And the idea is very simple. If we've got currency pairs that are currently bearish, what we'd love to do is we'd love to marry that with a bullish fundamental bias. So therefore, let's just say USD CAD is currently bearish, and let's say USD CAD is a fundamental bias of bullish. That's great because it means that price might be coming down to support and giving us an opportunity to buy. Of course, we can also say the same for the other side of things, which is that if we see bullish pairs, can we find a currency pair where the bias is bearish fundamentally, which means price is coming up to resistance? It's as simple as that. Conversely, if we find a bearish currency that has a bearish fundamental bias, can we find a way to continue trading in that direction? Or a currency pair that's bullish with a bullish bias and carry on trading in that direction? It's a very simple strategy, okay? But without this tool, you wouldn't have any clue. This updates regularly. So if you click refresh before any market open, you'll get the details leading up to that market open. And I recommend using it in that way like we are right now. Let's get going. Starting off with our Aussie dollar Japanese yen, right? Let's have a look at the rest of our yen pairs. So Aussie yen over here up 0.25, pound yen, Kiwi yen, Swiss franc Japanese yen, euro yen. So you can see like we've got, so Aussie is stronger than pound and Kiwi so far as the yen is concerned. And we can see pound Aussie down. So there's that strength there again. Pound weak, you can see the pound yen also not doing amazing. So looking at this, we'd say, well, Aussie yen currently bullish. Looking at the bias for Aussie yen, you can jump over here. I've got two screens open. So if I go to my yen pairs, I have a look at Aussie yen. Now you'll see my bias over here. And I see it's neutral, right? Which is fine. All that means is that I can do whatever I want. So if I'm at support, I can look for buying opportunities. If I'm at resistance, I can look for selling opportunities. It's all good. For CAD yen, we've got neutral as well. And you can see how the score summary is broken down. It's really cool. It takes all this information, gives it a rating, totals the score, and then gives you a total bias. All the fundamental data is here. The sentiment is here. Upcoming news is here. And this little breakdown here that tells you what the output summary is. It's dope. There's your seasonality, really, really cool. But neutral on CAD yen, euro yen coming through neutral as well, pound yen coming through with a sell, okay? Then we've got Kiwi yen, right? So we can see that pound yen is interesting because pound yen coming through with a sell and pound yen currently up. That's one of the opportunities we're looking for. Everything else is neutral. Let's take a look at Aussie yen first. So jumping into Aussie yen, looking at our daily, let's start with daily, okay? All right, so now remember we're neutral, so we can do whatever we want, all right? We're currently coming up to a monthly M3. We've come off an M2, so bulls are targeting this over here, and if they're bears in the market, they're targeting this down here. If you missed the buy when price was down here at the M2, then right now you're potentially paying attention to this. Of course, you can see there, do we have a trend? I mean, like the 21's above the 55, but our price action, you can see how we made this higher low. We failed to make a higher high coming off this monthly M3. Okay, so what you do now is you'd say, right, at resistance, have I got any opportunity to sell this? Okay, now right now we don't see a lower low, lower high on this time frame. That would be our first step, but of course we don't see that. So what we could look for then is a lower low, lower high. Currently at a daily target, okay? I don't see a lower low, lower high on this time frame. Look at M15, okay? So looking for that lower low, lower high. Now, ideally, what you'd love to see is price break the 55, come back up, double top, then break down lower low, then lower high, okay? It's ideally what you're looking for. You can see your 21 currently above the 55. What you really want to do, like you can see the opportunities for trading. Notice how in this 21's crossed this 55, price comes down to support over here. There's your role reversal. Look at how that's a good time to buy because 21's above the 55. So ideally, we'd like to see our 21 below the 55. Once they've crossed, wait for a pullback, and that's when you're going to sell. So right now, we're still waiting for the setup. Okay? Very simple stuff. So you can keep an eye on Aussie yen. In terms of CAD yen, looking at our daily time frame, we remain at this daily 21 and this monthly central pivot point. We spoke about this yesterday. You got this range going on right now. The range continues. You have got a 21 above the 55. Okay. Looking at lower time frames, you can see currently sideways, a lot of consolidation. I would leave this alone because you can see the volatility here is not great. Let's move on to something else. Okay, Aussie yen definitely much better for a potential setup than CAD yen. Euro yen on the daily, we were at the central pivot point yesterday. Prices now continue going up. So we can see here on H4, we still haven't come off bullish pivot points. I spoke about this yesterday. So we're looking at R1, weekly M4, weekly R2. We're waiting for price to get up to a resistance level so we can sell this. Okay. You can see 21 above the 55, no indication of lower low, lower high. We're not in a position to buy right now, not looking for a sell either at this moment in time. Okay, let's risk on. Maybe things change when more data comes out later in the week. Okay. Inflation data, very, very important. This is pound yen. You can see not doing as well as the other ones. Okay, problem is the yen's weak, the pound's weak. We're going to get low moves on this. Okay. But the similar situation in the fact that all we need, if we can just get some strong yen, pound yen will be a brilliant trade. So what we need is a little catalyst for that to take place, maybe some news later in the week. But ultimately, price has not come off bullish pivot points, so you're paying very careful attention as price gets up to these other pivot points. Okay. Currently, price in a range as well. You can see there, price currently sitting at the top of that range. Okay. So from a lower time frame perspective, you can see 21 above the 55 on a M15, 21 above the 55. Again, you're looking for price to come down, lower low, lower high, 21.55 cross, take the sell. But ideally, you'd like to get resistance on a higher time frame. So pound yen, I'm going to leave that alone too. Kiwi yen on the daily. Okay, cool. You could call that resistance. Even though this is sideways, I wouldn't really use 21 in this situation. Okay. But you have got resistance left-hand side over here, okay? And you can see they're also currently sideways. Also have not come off bullish pivot points, so you're paying attention to these bearish pivot points, okay? And you can see here on an M15 time frame, 21 still above the 55. So you're looking for that cross and looking to sell. at resistance. Make sure you're at resistance on higher time frames. So far, nothing really giving us any kind of solid setup. And if you've watched my previous videos, you'll notice when there are a lot of the opportunities I provide are waiting for things to happen, setting things up. That's just how things are, right? So patience is the important part of trading, right? Okay, cool. Let's take a look at some other pairs. That's all our yen pairs. Where are our dollar pairs sitting? We've got some Kiwi CAD, Aussie CAD. Okay. We've got, what else we got? We've got some pound dollar over there. Let's look at let's jump to our dollar pairs quickly. Okay, so pound dollar over here, Aussie dollar USD. What are the rest of our dollar pairs? Dollar Swissy. So the rest of our dollar pairs aren't really showing, right? USD CAD. Okay. So USD CAD bearish, pound dollar bullish. Let's take a look. Pound dollar with a bias of neutral. USD CAD with a bias of bullish. Okay, cool. So let's take a look at pound dollar. So pound dollar neutral. On the daily time frame, currently at the central pivot point, looking at H4, haven't come off bullish pivot points, waiting for price to get to resistance. Okay, so this isn't, it's at a central pivot point right now, but you got this sort of roll reverse on the left-hand side. Okay, cool. So are you currently at resistance? Could price come up higher, come up to there, daily targets? I would continue paying attention to this. You are currently at a confluence of daily M3 and monthly central. So if you want to take that, you're looking for price to make lower lows on the M15 time frame. Okay. USD CAD was when we spoke about yesterday. We had price at the monthly S1. You can see that there. Okay. And we were still saying you're looking for a higher high, higher low. And what we spoke about actually in the H1 time frame was we actually put this into a range. I was just in a coaching session last night, so I took the range out. But ultimately, what you're looking for is we actually ranged it out like that. So you can see there was your breakout and there was your pullback. Okay, is it mediocre? Perhaps it is. Okay. You can see 21.55 currently flat. What I would like to wait for is price to actually come back down to support somewhere on the 4-hour time frame. Not liking where price is right now. Okay. So I'm going to wait for this to set up as well. Lots of waiting. Why? Well, there's important data coming out later in the week. What else we got? Pound. So pound dollar, nothing really setting up. USD CAD, nothing really setting up. There was one trade. Let's take a look at it. Let's look at our losers. So we got dollar Swissy. We were looking at this yesterday. Dollar Swissy. I've got some defaults. Okay. Dollar Swissy currently coming up. You can see yesterday coming up at daily 21, didn't make a lower low. Price is continuing up. And you can see in terms of the H4 time frame. Oh, hold on a second. This is Swiss franc Japanese yen. Hold on one second. Let's just get this sorted. That's the wrong currency pair. Let's do that. Okay, cool. Yeah, that makes more sense. So, okay. Not really sitting at any kind of level. Got this MS1. Maybe price comes down to here. Then you can look for an opportunity. But nothing really standing out right now. Okay. And dollar Swissy's bias is currently, it's a sell. Yeah, you see, I'm not so keen on selling down here and leave that alone. Okay. Let's see. Euro Aussie. Let's look at Euro Aussie. What's our bias in Euro Aussie? Now, this is the cool thing, friends. Like when you look at trades like this, you're not seeing anything stand out for you on the charts. It just means stay away. That's all it means. It means stay away, wait for better opportunities. And sometimes no trade is the same as not losing money is the same as making money, right? So Euro Aussie dollar is a sell and it is currently bearish. So can we continue that trade? Let's look and see. Okay. No. Not a massive fan. Coming off the M3, price currently coming up. M15, you can see we broke below the 21.55 on H1. Coming off DM2, looking pretty sideways. No real structure on the H4 time frame. Going to leave that alone. Let's look and see what else we got. CAD Swissy. What's our bias on CAD Swissy? Down here on the left, CAD Swissy neutral. Okay. CAD Swissy neutral, daily time frame. Sitting at this 21. H4, currently sideways. Price closing down on the 4-hour. H1. Look at this bullish area. Leave that alone. Leave that alone. All right. There was one other trade we looked at yesterday, which was the Aussie Kiwi. We had a nice little range that was going on. Let's have a look and see how that's set up. So Aussie Kiwi coming through with a sell. It was nicely in position. And we set this up yesterday saying what we're paying attention to. The zigzag just there because I was doing coaching last night. Currently at a monthly R1. Okay, cool, beautiful. So yesterday we had this range mapped out. And we're simply saying wait for price to break out and pull back to the top. You can see we broke back into this range. So even this isn't worth trading. However, you are still at a weekly M3, so you are keeping an eye on this. But everything right now seems like we're waiting for setups. And I can tell you why that is because we're waiting for news. If we take a look at the calendar over here, let's just look at high impact and medium impact news. Let's look at the date, 12th, the 11th. Okay, so I'm going to specify USD on this. Okay, let's have a look and see. So we got inflation in 1 day's time. That's important. Core inflation, CPI. Okay, that stuff's very important. Continuing jobless claims, that's very important. They're saying that inflation is medium. It's not medium, it's high. Okay. This is all very, very, very important. Even though the Fed are paying attention to jobs, and you saw last week's job report. So now we're looking at inflation as well. That might be why the market is waiting. What are the Fed going to do with their interest rates this year? And that tells me that if the market is chilling, then I can chill as well. But what you can do is you can come back to this market heat map just before New York. You can take a look at it. Let's go here. You can take a look at it. You can do exactly what I've done. Look at your bullish pairs. Look at your overall bias. See if there's opportunities. Look at your bearish pairs. Overall bias. See if there are opportunities. And you can do that for London, New York Stock Exchange, Asia, throughout the day. This doesn't just update before market opens. It updates on a regular basis. Okay. So until then, what you're doing right now is you're sitting in the boats, you got your fishing rod in the water, and you're being patient. You don't dive in the water and try and catch fish with your hands because you're likely to drown. So you just wait. When you get a bite, is it the kind of fish you're looking to catch? If it isn't, throw it back. And with this patience and discipline, eventually you will find yourself in a situation where you're taking the right kind of trades. Ne? Cool. Stay patient, stay disciplined, stay liquid. And I'll see you fine human beings tomorrow. Have a beautiful day.